Hi, and welcome to Blue's Garden, starting my 2024 sweet potato. This is the first part of two, and this is how I start my sweet potato slips. First, I start with some potting soil and a tiny bit of peat in there, and I fill it about halfway up. This is the way my grandfather taught me, and it is all about making it a sort of a fake winter. This is the long, dark, fake winter rest period that I do. So first thing I do, fill a pot about halfway, put the potatoes in, and I bury them about half deep. And then I am gonna add some extra soil so that they're, buried so there's lots of contact between the potato and the soil, and that'll be where the roots will eventually start. I keep the soil pretty moist and top it up. Then, to give us that long dark winter, I cover it up. Go a couple of weeks in the dark. Cover this up, block the light for a couple of weeks, and that is my dormant winter period for the sweet potatoes. After about a couple of weeks, then it is time to take them out. I bury them into a big flat shallow pan. Same soil, add a little bit more and make sure it's moist. After a couple of weeks with light on all the time, I do it 24 hours a day, tiny heat mat under. After a couple of weeks, you start to see sweet potato slips. Meanwhile, preparing the pot, the fabric grow bag, I add a good handful of bone meal, and it's a 4-12-0 NPK. Mix it in thoroughly. After a couple more weeks, total of about 4, I will then start to break off the sweet potato slips off of the potatoes, and that gives me a chance to put them in some water. I will clean off, because the sweet potato slips have now sent down roots into the dirt, kind of give them a little shake off, rinse off or whatnot to give them a chance to clean them up a bit. I will just keep going with that. You'll see as I start to pull this up, that whole tray of dirt has a big mat of sweet potato roots. The slips have sent down roots all over. And I just start breaking off, carefully break off the slip off of the original sweet potato. And then the hard part is carefully separating each slip apart, shaking the roots loose, snap them off. So here's where I'm going to start separating each one of the slips out and carefully teasing the roots apart. You'll see I got a nice sized potato slip, and I will carefully, again, separate them out. Give it a little rinse here, and I will, again, carefully separate out a slip. I'm eventually going to grab a couple of smaller jars of water. A small one that I will use, small mason jar that I will use for any of the shorter slips. Again, I've rinsed them off, and I'll start tucking the shorter sweet potato slips in so that there's something above the water and get them in there. I'll set these sweet potato slips for about a week or 10 days in the water to get the roots to grow. I initially was going to start cutting all these slips apart, but I realized it's actually kind of silly because they actually snap. If you kind of pull them apart, they actually snap apart pretty easily. So, and then they pop out where you get just one slip and its roots. The larger roots I will use in the larger mason jars, and the shorter ones will go in the smaller mason jar. You'll see in a sec where I separate them out. So, like I said, underneath that one big sweet potato, big mat of root that all go up to an individual slip. And this is the part where it's just patience. Tease everything apart carefully. Separate all the slips apart, short guys, tall guys. Separate them into the two sizes, and those will go into the different mason jars. And that way they'll all have some leaves above the water and some leaves below the water. And some roots below the water. So short guys in one, tall guys in another. Yeah, just carefully tease things apart. And in some cases, I actually did snip them apart. Short guys in one shorter jar, taller guys in the taller jar. And then just keep repeating. Tease them apart. Short guys in one, taller guys in the taller jar. Carefully tease it apart. Try and get as much of the dirt out as I can. Get the taller ones into the tall jar. Get the roots nice and wet. Make sure they're all deep into the water. Shorter guys in the short one, taller guys in the tall one. It's really not that complicated. Basically, out of my 3 sweet potato, 1 did nothing. And I got a bunch of short ones. 1 short one from 1 sweet potato. Everything else came from 1 other sweet potato. Short guys all go into short jar. And basically out of 1 sweet potato, I got a ton of roots. Into a warm, sunny location for about a week or 10 days, and we'll see what happens in part 2. Please share this video, it really helps. Thanks, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Blues Garden tips.